Good morning to all. So, in the previous class, we have discussed undamped free vibrations and we have derived the equation of motion and the natural frequency for spring mass system using different methods. So the methods we have used are Newton's method, energy method, Rayleigh's method. Okay, so using these methods we have determined the equation of motion as well as the natural frequency of the spring mass system. So coming to the next session, in the today's class we will derive the equation of motion as well as the natural frequency of the spring mass system, but here we are considering the mass of the spring for the derivation. So in the previous derivations what you have done for spring mass, the mass of the spring is negligible, we have neglected. So there mass is having the kinetic energy and spring is having the potential energy. So that was a consideration we have done in the last derivations. But today's derivation where we have taken spring mass system, we are going to consider the mass of the spring also. So when you say mass of the spring is considered, then we have to determine the kinetic energy of the spring, because if it has a mass, definitely it will be having a kinetic energy. So now let us take the spring mass system as shown in figure 2.16. Okay, let x be the displacement of the mass, x dot be the velocity of the free end of the spring or velocity of the mass, m dash equals to mass of the spring per unit length. M dash equal to mass of the spring per unit length means for 1 mm or 1 centimeter for 1 meter, what is the mass? So it is a per unit length. L equals to total length of the spring wire. So also you can observe in the sketch where what you have, one end of the spring is fixed, the other end of the spring is attached to the mass m. Okay, so length L is the length of the spring, x is the displacement of the mass, x dot is a velocity of the spring at the end where it is attached to mass or velocity of the mass, m dash is mass of the spring per unit length, L equal to length of the spring. Okay, so what we need to do, what is the approach here? So to derive the equation of motion as well as the natural frequency of the system, we are going to use the energy method here. So as per the energy method, the total energy of the system is constant. The total energy of the system is what? It is the sum of kinetic energy and the potential energy. So we have to determine the kinetic energy of the mass, the kinetic energy of the spring, since we have considering the mass of the spring, and the potential energy of the spring. So here the important is to determine the kinetic energy of the spring. So for that, so what we will do, we will take the small element dy, we will consider a small element dy at a small element delta y, sorry, small element delta y or dy at a distance y from the fixed end as shown in figure. We are considering a small element dy or delta y at a distance y from the fixed end. Now, the velocity of this element, the velocity of this spring element dy at a distance y from the fixed end is given by the equation x dot into y by L. Remember this formula. The velocity of the element dy at a distance y from the fixed end is given by x dot y by L. Now, so the kinetic energy of this element dy, the kinetic energy of this element dy is given by 1 by 2. So you know that kinetic energy is what? 1 by 2 mass into square of the velocity. Okay, so for this element the mass is what? M dash into dy. M dash is mass of the spring per unit length. Dy is its length. So we'll get what? The mass of the spring for the element dy. So the kinetic energy for this element dy is given by dy equal to 1 by 2 m dash dy is the mass, velocity is what? X dot y by L whole square, that is a velocity. Now this is the kinetic energy for the small element dy of the spring. In order to get the whole kinetic energy of the entire spring of the length L, you have to integrate this equation from the range 0 to L. Then you will get the total kinetic energy of the spring considering its mass. So now take integration of the above equation. Kinetic energy of the spring equal to integration 0 to L 1 by 2 m dash x dot square y square L square into dy. So keep outside the constants 1 by 2 m dash x dot square divided by L square into bracket integration 0 to L y square dy. Then do the integration here 1 by 2 m dash x dot square divided by L square into bracket. So y square is what? Nothing but a y cube by 3. Y cube by 3. So substituting the limits you can write directly L cube by 3. So after simplification what you can write here? 1 by 6 m dash L x dot square. So 1 by 6 m dash L is nothing but what? Mass of the spring. M dash is what? Mass of the spring per unit length. Okay, so L is what? Length. So multiplying mass per unit length into the length you will get a mass. So 1 by 6 in place of m dash L you can write ms, where ms is the mass of the spring x dot square. So by this way we have determined the kinetic energy of the spring. Now the total kinetic energy of the system is what? Now it could be the kinetic energy of the mass and the kinetic energy of the spring. So this is new addition, kinetic energy of the spring, because we have considered the mass of the spring. So what you can write here? The total kinetic energy of the system equal to 1 by 2 m x dot square plus 1 by 6 ms x dot square. Next, the potential energy of the system, that is of the spring, is given by 1 by 2 kx square. So applying the energy method, which says the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy is constant. So hence we can write total energy of the system equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy equal to constant. Substituting those equations, the total kinetic energy is 1 by 2 mx dot square plus 1 by 6 ms x dot square plus the potential energy is 1 by 2 k x square equal to constant. Now differentiate the above equation on both sides with respect to time. So what you're going to get here, 1 by 2 m x dot square equal to what? 2x dot. X dot is a velocity. When you differentiate velocity, what you're going to get? Acceleration. That's why x double dot plus 1 by 6 ms 2x dot into again velocity differentiation acceleration x double dot plus 1 by 2 k 2x differentiation of displacement with respect to time is a velocity. So that's why 2x into x dot equal to 0. So eliminate the common, you will get equation mx double dot plus 1 by 3 ms x double dot plus kx equal to 0. So take the x double dot common, first two terms you will write m plus 1 by 3 ms plus kx equal to 0. So dividing throughout by m plus 1 by 3 ms term, you will write x double dot plus k divided by m plus ms by 3 into x equal to 0. So as per the analysis, this term k by m plus ms by 3 is equal to omega n square. Always you remember this type of writing. So when you have this term, any term can be here. So this term k by m plus ms by 3 is equal to omega square, okay, or omega n square. Omega n stands for natural frequency, natural circular frequency. Hence omega n equal to square root of k by m plus ms by 3 radians per second. So natural frequency of the system is given by the equation what? Omega n by 2 pi. Hence the natural frequency of the spring mass system, considering the mass of the spring is given by 1 by 2 pi. So omega n is what? Square root of k by m plus ms by 3 hertz. So this is one of the very important derivation, has been asked almost each question per if you refer. So that's why it is very important derivation. So what we have difference major, you can see here the kinetic energy of the spring has been considered. Okay, so very easy. So just go through this derivation. Okay, so next we'll go for the next concept, that is damped free vibration. So what is the meaning of damped free vibration? So you know that when there is a vibration, if there is a loss of energy, if there is a friction, if there is a resistance to the vibratory motion, so that is called as what? A damped vibration without any external force. So that's why it's called as what? A free damped vibration. So there is no any external force is acting on the vibratory system, but there is a resistance, friction to the vibratory motion. So for example, you have seen now we have rainy season, when you're riding a bike or a car in a road filled with water, you may feel the resistance moving through the road. So that resistance is what offered by the water on the road. So that is called nothing but what? Damping. That is nothing but what? Damping. Okay. So what we can observe here, when you brought the pump for the when you brought the motor for the sump to lift the water, or whatever the new machine you have brought, you have been observed always the vibrations are very negligible at the beginning, okay, when it is very new, okay. But as time goes, you may be observed after 6 months or after 1 year, the vibrations are more. Okay, so that is what again due to the poor maintenance or maybe due to the wear and tear. Okay, so that is one part. But generally, when the motor gets old, okay, when you start the motor, you have seen that initially the vibrations are very high, but after 5 minutes or 10 minutes, after the over period of time, you maybe see the vibrations have been reduced. Similarly, when you maybe observe lot of machineries, even the bus, you can see the gear or whatever the machinery components, when they going to start, they have more vibrations. But as the time goes, maybe after 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, the vibrations are almost reduced. Okay, so why did this happen? This happened because as the time goes, there will be a resistance, there will be a friction, there will be a loss of energy, so which will oppose this vibratory motion. Okay, so damping is very important part of the vibratory system. So you can say by use of damping, what you can do, you can reduce the vibratory motion. By that you can increase the life of the machinery. Okay, so it is very important aspect of the vibratory system where the damping should be provided, which will register the vibratory motion. Okay, so its amplitude is very high at the beginning, but as the time goes, the amplitude decreases. Okay, so maybe you have been observed where generally we can provide the damping. So you have been working on the lathe, so we have fixed the lathe to the ground, or we have kept some damper to the base to the lathe. Why we have done that? In order to minimize or reduce the vibrations of the lathe machine. Okay, why the foundation is required? The foundation is the one which will absorb the vibrations and reduce its effect on the machine. Otherwise, what happens? There will be a more vibrations, it not able to work or function smoothly. So that's why in order to reduce the vibratory motion, you have to provide the foundation, or in other words, you have to provide the damping. So there are generally 4 types of damping. So in the earlier scheme we have this, but now you don't have this explanation about different types of damping. We just remember there are basically 4 types of damping. One is viscous damping, that is due to the fluid. Second one is a Coulomb damping or dry friction. Okay, third one is a structural damping, that is due to the internal resistance inside the body when the force is applied, that is a structural damping. Fourth one is a non-linear slip or interfacial damping. This is a microscopic level damping. So here there is a slippage occurs between the machine parts or links. Okay, so these 4 types are there: viscous damping, Coulomb damping, structural damping, non-linear slip, or interfacial damping. So these are the 4 types of damping. Generally remember this, but in the explanation they will not ask you, because in the earlier scheme it was there. Okay, now what we are going to do here, we are going to derive. So in the previous session we have seen, we have derived the equation of motion as well as the frequency of the system without damping, that is a undamped system. Now we have a damped system, that means where we have the resistance. Okay, so in this part we will take the equation of motion as well as the natural frequency of the system for the damped free vibrations. So for that, so again you can see here this question, differential equation of damped free vibration or viscous damping, it is called one more name by viscous damped, been asked a lot of times in the examination. So you have to do this derivation, it's very important. So again, consider the spring mass damper system, okay, as shown in the figure. You can see here spring mass damper system as shown in figure. One end of a spring as well as damper is fixed. One end of the spring and damper is fixed, and the other end of the spring and damper is carrying the mass m, as shown in figure 3.10. okay. So now what are the notations are going to be used in this derivation? We'll see that. Let K be the stiffness of the spring. So stiffness is defined as the force required for unit displacement. So what we can write here, the force adhimata water weight. So mg by delta. Stiffness of spring equal to what? Mg by delta. Delta is a static deflection. Okay. Next, C is damping coefficient. So we have a damper, it is denoted by C. It is also called by the name dashpot. C is a damper. C is what? Damping coefficient. So that is damping force per unit velocity. Damping force per unit velocity. So damper is denoted by small letter c. Omega n is natural circular frequency of undamped vibration. X is a displacement of the mass from the mean position at time t. X dot is a velocity of the mass at time t. X double dot is the acceleration of the mass at time t. Kx. So here there are, when the system is under equilibrium, okay, and you have taken the mass m and placed or pulled by distance x and release it, the mass m undergoes a vibrations. Okay, so try to understand what I am saying here. So you hold the mass m and bring it, pull it down by distance x and release it, the spring mass system undergoes a vibrations. During that time, what are the forces acting on the system? The forces acting on the system are three types. One is spring force due to the spring, that is Kx. You can see the Fourier diagram which will be acting upward. Next, inertia force, because you know that when there is a mass, there will be having the acceleration. Okay, inertia force is opposite to the acceleration force, that is a mx double dot, and the damping force, that is due to the damper which is having a velocity cx dot. So these are the three forces acting on the system. One is a spring force kx, inertia force mx double dot, damping force cx dot. Okay, so m is the mass of the suspended from the spring, small w is the weight of the body, that is a m into z, delta is a static deflection of the spring. So as I said, let the mass be displaced by at a distance x in the downward direction from the mean position and release it. So what are the forces are acting on the body? One is a acceleration force in the direction of the motion, that is acting downward, that is m d square x by dt square equal to mx double dot. Damping force or frictional force acting in the opposite direction of the motion, that is acting upward. You can see here the free body diagram in the figure 3.10. So that is c into dx by dt, that is c into x dot. Spring force, the third one, is again in the opposite direction of the motion, again acting upward, that is a k into x. So these three are the forces acting on the body when it is subjected to vibrations. So now for the dynamic equilibrium of the body, the sum of these forces, the sum of inertia force and external forces in any direction should be 0. For dynamic equilibrium of the body, the sum of inertia force and external, what are the external forces here? The external forces are damping force and spring force. So sum of these two and the inertia force is equal to 0. So inertia force is equal but opposite to the accelerating force. The accelerating force is acting downward, but inertia force, which is having the same magnitude as the accelerating force, will be acting upward. So upward direction. So you can write inertia force equal to mx double dot, because magnitude is same but in a opposite direction. Okay, therefore the equation of motion of the system can be written as mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx equal to 0. Mx double dot is a inertia force, cx dot is a damping force, and kx is a spring force. All sum is equal to what? 0 for the equilibrium. Okay, so this is called the characteristic equation of the system. Now this equation is of a second order differential equation. So now we have to find the solution for this equation, that is a 3.3.1 mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx equal to 0. So assuming a solution of the form x equal to e raised to ut, where u is the constant to be determined. So now we need to differentiate this x twice, once x dot and x double dot with respect to time, and substitute the values in the equation 3.3.1. So differentiate first time, we will get x dot equal to, that is a displacement to velocity, u e raised to ut. Again you differentiate velocity into acceleration, x double dot u square e raised to ut. Okay, that is equation 3.3.2. Now substitute all these x dot, x double dot in equation 3.3.1. So we can write m into, in place of x double dot you write u square e raised to ut, plus in place of x dot, that is a c into x dot is a u e raised to ut plus k x substitution e raised to ut equal to 0. So e raised to ut is common, you eliminate that. What is left here? Mu square plus cu plus k equal to 0. Divide through it by m, you write u square plus cu plus k by m equal to 0, that is equation 3.3.3. So this is the equation of the form quadratic, that is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. So for ax square plus bx plus c equation, the solution is, you know that x equal to minus b plus or minus whole under the root b square minus 4ab divided by 2a. So you have seen in the mathematics, that is x equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. For this equation 3.3.3, a equal to 1, b equal to c by m, c equal to k by m. Okay, so what you can write in that form, u equal to minus b is what? Minus c by m plus or minus square root of b square. B square is what? C square by m square minus 4ac. 4, a is 1, c is k by 1. 4 k by m divided by 2, 2a. So 2 into A is 1. So simplifying this, you write, split this equation, you write U equal to minus C by 2m plus or minus square root of, take inside the 2, we can write C by 2m whole square minus K by m. So now what we have? We have two roots here. One is a plus sign, other one is a negative sign. What are those? U1 equal to minus C by 2m plus square root of C by 2m whole square minus K by m, with a negative sign. U2 second root minus C by 2m minus square root of C by 2m whole square minus K by m. So these two roots u1 u2, you can give equation of 3.3.5. Now solution of the equation 3.3.1, that is mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx equal to 0. Now you can write the solution is in the form x equal to a1 e raised to u1 t plus a2 e raised to u2 t. So u1 is one root, u2 is another root, where a1, a2 are the arbitrary constants, can be determined by applying the boundary conditions. u1 and u2 are their roots. So now we can write, substitute these roots u1 and u2 3.3.5 in equation 3.3.6. You can write x equal to a1 e raised to u1 is what? Minus c by 2m plus square root of c by 2m whole square minus k by m into bracket t plus a2 e raised to minus c by m minus square root of c by m whole square minus k by m whole bracket into t. That is equation 3.3.7. Okay. Now before going further, we have to define two important terms. One is a critical damping constant and other one is a damping ratio. So these are the very important two terms here: critical damping constant or critical damping coefficient and the damping ratio. We'll take the first one, critical damping constant. So how you define this? The critical damping Cc, the notation is what? C. C is a damping coefficient, Cc is a critical damping coefficient. Understand here, C is a damping coefficient, Cc is a critical damping coefficient. The critical damping coefficient Cc is defined as the value of damping coefficient, the value of damping coefficient C for which the term, methanol term, what we have in the bracket, for which the methanol term C by 2m whole square minus K by m in equation 3.3.7 is equal to 0. Understand what I am saying here? So when you call damping coefficient C to critical damping coefficient Cc, only when this whole term C by 2m whole square minus K by m is equal to 0. So you can write that term equal to 0, C by 2m whole square minus K by m equal to 0. So hence you equal it to 0, this C becomes Cc. Cc by 2m, remove that square, you write square root of K by m. So Cc equal to what you can write here? 2m square root of K by m. So square root of K by m is what? The omega or omega n. So that is a natural circular frequency. That is equation say 3.3.8. That is a one term. That is a critical damping constant or critical damping coefficient, that is a Cc. So what is the damping ratio? The damping ratio nothing but what? The ratio of damping coefficient C to the critical damping coefficient Cc. C by Cc, damping coefficient C to the critical damping coefficient Cc is termed as damping ratio. So it is denoted by the mathematical symbol epsilon just like the strain symbol what used in the mom, just like stress sigma, strain symbol epsilon for a damping ratio. So C by Cc. So mathematically you can write it as a epsilon equal to C by Cc, that is equation 3.3.9. So in order to simplify, we'll write, let us consider the term C by 2m of the equation 3.3.7. So you can rewrite this as a C by 2m equal to C by Cc into Cc by 2m. So just rewriting this. Anyway, Cc get cancelled, so you'll get Cc by m only. So what you write here? Rewriting this C by 2m equal to C by Cc into Cc by 2m. So C by Cc is what? Damping coefficient C to the critical damping coefficient Cc is a damping ratio epsilon. Cc by 2m, you see from equation 3.3.8. From equation 3.3.8, Cc by 2m nothing but what? Omega. So you can write C by 2m equal to nothing but epsilon omega. Now substitute this value in equation 3.3.7. So what you can write, substituting this 3.3.10, that is C by 2m equal to epsilon omega in equation 3.3.7. So what you can write here, the equation of motion is nothing but what? X equal to a1 e raised to, so in place of C by 2m you can write a epsilon omega. So here minus C by 2m you can write a minus epsilon omega plus square root of epsilon square omega square minus k by m is there. See, remember here k by m equal to what? Omega square. Okay, or omega square equal to k by m. So omega equal to square root of k by m. Omega equal to square root of k by m, or omega square equal to k by m. So in place of k by m, you can write here omega square. Understand what I'm saying? I'll come from beginning. A1 e raised to minus C by 2m equal to epsilon omega plus square root of C by 2m whole square equal to epsilon square omega square minus k by m equal to epsilon omega square into bracket t plus a2 e raised to minus C by m nothing but what? Epsilon omega minus epsilon omega minus square root of C by m whole square equal to epsilon square omega square minus k by m equal to minus omega square whole bracket t, that is a 3.3.7. So what you need to understand here, don't confuse k by m equal to omega square or omega equal to square root of k by m. So that relation you remember. So now taking common omega t in each term, you get the equation of motion for the spring mass damper system when there is no external force is acting. So that is given by x equal to a1 e raised to minus epsilon plus square root of epsilon square minus 1 omega t, because omega t you have taken common for each term, plus a2 e raised to minus epsilon minus square root of epsilon square minus 1. So this equation 3.3.11 is called as the equation of motion for the spring mass system or a viscous damping. This is a very important derivation. Okay, so try to go through it. Maybe it appeared typical or difficulty or complex, but if you practice and understand very slowly, you come to know this. Okay, so depend upon the value of damping ratio. So remember, damping ratio is what? Epsilon, which is defined as C by Cc, damping coefficient to the critical damping coefficient. So the system defined by three ways of definition of a system of the vibratory system, that we'll discuss in the next class. But right now For today's we'll wind up for this only. So go through this derivation, try to do on your own by taking pen and paper. If anywhere you have difficulties, please call me back. Okay, thank you.